Another day, another story. Today, I will briefly introduce the history of the United States. Have a good time. 1620 to 1650. The colonial era, the first 30 years of the United States history, were marked by the arrival of the Pilgrims in 1620 and the establishment of the Massachusetts Bay Colony in 1630. During this period, other English colonies were established in Virginia, Maryland, and New York. The colonists struggled to establish a new society, and conflicts with Native Americans were frequent. 1650 to 1680. The age of expansion. During this period, the British colonies continued to expand, and new colonies were established in Rhode Island, New Jersey, and Carolina. The economy grew as agriculture, trade, and commerce flourished, but tensions with Native Americans and other colonial powers, such as the Dutch in New Netherland, persisted. 1680 to 1710. The Glorious Revolution. This period saw significant political changes in England, culminating in the Glorious Revolution of 1688. The British colonies adapted to the new political environment and continued to expand, with the establishment of Pennsylvania and Georgia. The slave trade became an integral part of the colonial economy, and the Salem witch trials were a notable event. 1710 to 1740. The Enlightenment and the Great Awakening. During this period, the Age of Enlightenment began to influence colonial thought and society. The Great Awakening, a religious revival movement, also swept through the colonies. The French and Indian War, 1754 to 1763, marked a significant conflict between the British and French, with the British emerging victorious. 1740 to 1770. The road to revolution. The period leading up to the American Revolution was marked by increasing tensions between the British government and the American colonists. The Stamp Act and other unpopular measures sparked protests and resistance, culminating in the Boston Tea Party in 1773. 1770 to 1800. The birth of a nation. The American Revolution, 1775 to 1783, resulted in the birth of a new nation, the United States of America. The Constitution was written and ratified, and George Washington was elected as the first president in 1789. The new nation struggled with issues such as slavery and the balance of power between the federal government and the states. 1800 to 1830. The age of Thomas Jefferson's presidency, 1801 to 1809, marked a period of expansion, with the Louisiana Purchase and the Lewis and Clark Expedition. The War of 1812 was fought against Britain, and the Monroe Doctrine declared the United States' intention to be the dominant power in the Western Hemisphere. 1830 to 1860. The antebellum period. The United States experienced significant economic, social, and political changes during this period. The Second Great Awakening, a religious revival movement, swept through the country, and the abolitionist movement gained momentum. The Mexican-American War, 1846 to 1848, resulted in the acquisition of new territories, including California and Texas. 1860 to 1890. Reconstruction and the Gilded Age. The period following the Civil War was marked by Reconstruction, a period of rebuilding and reform. The Gilded Age, characterized by rapid industrialization and economic growth, also began during this period. The westward expansion continued, and tensions between Native Americans and settlers led to conflicts such as the Battle of Little Bighorn. The Progressive Era and World War I, 1890 to 1919. The Progressive Era in the United States, spanning from the 1890s to the 1920s, was a period of social and political reform. Progressives sought to address social, economic, and political issues caused by industrialization and urbanization. The era saw the emergence of important figures such as Theodore Roosevelt, who advocated for the regulation of large corporations and the conservation of natural resources. One of the significant pieces of legislation during this era was the Pure Food and Drug Act of 1906, which aimed to protect consumers from unsafe food and drugs. Other reforms included the establishment of labor protections, such as minimum wage laws and the 8-hour workday, as well as the expansion of voting rights. World War I, 1914 to 1918, had a significant impact on the United States, despite the country's initial reluctance to enter the conflict. The war led to increased government intervention in the economy and society, as well as a sense of national unity and pride. Women also played a significant role during the war, taking on jobs traditionally held by men. The end of World War I brought about significant changes in the international order, with the Treaty of Versailles imposing harsh penalties on Germany and leading to the emergence of new global powers. The war also paved the way for the United States to become a major player on the world stage, setting the stage for the country's emergence as a superpower in the following decades. Food and Drug Act and the 19th Amendment, which granted women the right to vote. World War I, 1914 to 1918, had a significant impact on the United States, leading to increased involvement in international affairs and the emergence of the United States as a global superpower. 1920 to 1950, the Roaring Twenties and World War II. The 1920s, also known as the Roaring Twenties, were marked by economic prosperity, cultural changes, and the rise of the Jazz Age. However, the stock market crash of 1929 led to the Great Depression, which lasted throughout the 1930s. The United States entered World War II, 1939 to 1945, after the attack on Pearl Harbor, and the war had a significant impact on the country, both economically and socially. 1950 to 1980, the Cold War and Civil Rights Movement. The Cold War dominated the international scene during this period, with the United States and the Soviet Union engaging in a global struggle for power and influence. The Civil Rights Movement, led by figures such as Martin Luther King Jr., sought to end racial segregation and discrimination in the United States. The Vietnam War, 1955 to 1975, was a controversial conflict that divided the nation. 1980 to 2010, Reaganomics and Globalization. The 1980s saw the emergence of Reaganomics, a set of economic policies aimed at reducing government regulation and taxes. The end of the Cold War in the 1990s led to a period of globalization, with the United States playing a dominant role in the global economy. The 9/11 terrorist attacks in 2001 marked a turning point in the nation's history, leading to increased focus on national security and the war on terror. Thanks for watching.